Morning. It's Sunday morning, and I'm going to do a day in the life today of just what we get up to in the winter, because it is a little bit different in winter compared to other seasons. And I get up later. That's one thing. So it's now, just check the time, 10 to 8. So the sun has only just risen. Usually gets light about quarter past 7. Starts getting light at this time of year. We have gone past the shortest day of the year, so hopefully things will start getting lighter in the mornings. But I really hate getting up in the dark. But it has risen now, the sun, and I usually make a coffee and I go and sit outside, but it is quite windy out there today. I'm going to sit out there for a little bit and do my journaling and have my coffee, but I think I might find myself coming back inside because I don't particularly like sitting out in the cold wind. Anyway, I'll grab my coffee and I'm going to get my coat and my blanket, and I'm going to go and sit outside for as long as I can. I was just getting a little bit of housework done, cleaning the kitchen up. Thought I'd put some washing on, and then I was going to get to all my other jobs. And I unfortunately have done something to the washing machine, and I've pulled the hose. The washing machine didn't seem to be sitting in properly, like there was something blocking it from the back, so I pulled it out from under the bench to see, and I think I've broken the hose that goes into the washing machine. I heard water gushing. Lucky I know where the little taps are under the cupboard. And I could turn the water off, because otherwise I was going to have a flooded laundry. It flooded a little bit, but not too much. And now I don't know how to fix it. And I think I'm going to have to get a new hose. Let me just show you the mess that I've just made. Right, so I've got towels mopping up all of the the water that's come out from the back. I've made a mess. I've had to pull things out of the cupboard, and yeah, I have pulled the hose off the back. I got that off, but I think this bit in here is like broken, because even if I get that on tight, that seems to, I don't know, it seems to be loose and then water comes out of there when I turn the taps back on. This is not what I needed today. Anyway, I'm just going to leave it as it is and I'm going to move on with my other things. First, I'm going to have a cup of tea though, I think. Right, I have made my cup of tea and I'm going to sit down and reevaluate what I was going to do today, because I was planning on getting outside, pruning the fruit trees and doing a little bit more out in the garden to prepare for spring. But it is so windy out there and trying to film is going to be just ridiculous. I'd have to just do a voiceover. So I think that might have to wait for another video. And today I'm probably going to just look at some stuff that I can do indoors. I am planning on making some bagels. So I've got the recipe out, and once I've had my cup of tea, I'm going to get that ready, like the dough ready. I've got the fire going so that it'll be nice and warm and have somewhere to sit in front of and prove. And I think what I might do is reevaluate my seeds. I might get my seeds out, have a look at what I have, what I need, think about any seeds that I may need to order. I'm getting much better at saving seeds from my harvests. So there's a number of things that I have saved seeds, but some that I haven't, and I'm planning to just get better and better each season. So I probably need to do that. It feels weird to be thinking about like spring, summer vegetables and it's the middle of winter. Yeah, it's mid-June. But now is the time you need to prepare. You need to think about what seeds you need, make sure you have everything that you're going to need to sow. And some things will actually be sown soonish, particularly those that might need some time to get started, and I might start them. Last year I started things like tomatoes and so on in the greenhouse, but I kind of had to start them later because it's still so cold in August. Last year I found that my seedlings were not big enough by the time I needed to plant them out in the garden. So I really want to get them going and have them a decent size this time before they go out in the garden, which means starting them a bit earlier and probably inside. I think that's where it's going to be best. So I just need to sit down and have a bit of a rethink about what worked last year, what didn't work, what am I going to do differently this year, have some plans, look at my seeds, think about what I need. So I think that might be a good day to do that today. So I'm sorry there's not going to be too much gardening outside. It's too windy. All right, I'm going to get my bagels going now. I've only made them once before and I have to say they turned out pretty good. So I'm keen to have another go. This is from a Woman's Weekly cookbook called Simply Bread. Has a whole heap of different breads. And I've been attempting to try and make more bread, particularly different types of bread, recently, especially since it's winter. I tend to do more baking and cooking in the kitchen and doing that sort of thing in winter than in the summer. So I've got some warm milk and water, and then I'm going to put in some yeast. 3 teaspoons. And some caster sugar. And then I'm just going to leave that to, get all bubbly. It's really nice and frothy. There's lots of bubbles on the top. So I'm going to pour that in my bowl. Just make sure I get it all out. Oops. So I'm going to use a mixer to knead the dough, even though it says to knead it by hand for 10 minutes. But sometimes I don't mind spending the time to knead by hand, but other times I like to see if there's an easier way to do it, because then that might mean that I will do it more often. I have been experimenting with baking breads. I've been doing a no-knead bread recently, and I think I've now got it right. I'm really, really happy with it. And it's really simple, and I think if I make it really simple, and I then do it more often, if that makes sense. So I have been making a loaf every week. I might show you that in the next video, because I'm not going to make it today, so that you can see kind of, I tried out a few different recipes, and although they're all fairly similar, I just found that this particular way of doing it was much better. A bit of salt and some more sugar. Oh, that is not how that goes. I'm not sure. It goes the other way. And I'm just going to give this a mix with the dough hook. Oh, and you need to turn it on. All right, here we go. Oh, that might be why it wasn't working properly. I didn't have it in right. That would help. Okay, I've kneaded it with the mixer, but I think it's a little bit on the sticky side. It does say not to add too much flour or they'll be dry. So I think I'm just going to get it out and just knead it by hand just for a little bit. I don't think it needs much. And that way I can just add a little bit of flour at a time. I was a bit worried about adding it into the bowl in case I add too much. And I think sometimes with bread flours, it's good to do it with your hands when you're not sure if it's the right consistency, because then that way, oh yeah, that feels actually pretty good. Well, it's not as bad as I thought. It's actually a very nice soft dough. So I'm only just going to add a little bit, but not too much, a little bit of flour. I think that's actually pretty good. It's a very nice dough. All right. And now what I need to do is put it back into the bowl. It's actually a lovely dough. Back into the bowl, I'm going to put a little bit of flour around it. Not too much. It's only just because I've got a bit of sticky dough left in the bottom. So I'm going to pop this dough in the bowl. I'm going to cover it over, and I'm going to go and sit it over beside the fire. Actually, there's a little bit of sun coming out now. So I'll sit it over there and let it rise, I think for about an hour or so. What does it say? It needs to double in size. So I think it's warm enough in here. It should be about an hour. All right, while that is, so I've just popped it on the box, the wood box beside the fire, so it'll be nice and warm. The sun is coming in. You can see there's some sun coming in here, but it's coming and going because it is fairly cloudy out there. I'm going to head outside now just quickly and feed the chicken. Actually, I think I might let the chickens out. I've been letting them out to roam around and get some green grass, because this is the first time we've had any kind of grass for quite some time. So, and there's none in their pen. So I'm going to let them out. I've been letting them out when I'm home and I can keep an eye on them, and the dogs stay. Well, one dog in particular, I can't trust him around the chickens. He can be a little bit naughty. The others are okay. So he's having a snooze inside. So I'm just going to let him stay inside for a little while. I'll let them go out and have a little bit of a roam around. And then that way I can bring some feed and get them back in when I want them back in. So I think that's what I'll do. And the other thing I need to do is check our batteries. Now we have had a little bit of sunshine, so there's a bit of sun coming through now. But in winter, that's something we do like to check more regularly. We don't do it as often in the longer days, but when the days are short, we're producing less solar. And it's also been cloudy. We've had several days of quite a bit of cloud. I think we put the generator on a couple of times, maybe 2 or 3 this winter so far, which is not too bad. But yeah, I just need to go and keep an eye on it because I may have to put the generator on. But I'm thinking that with a little bit of sunshine peeking through that we're probably okay. But we'll go and do that. I probably won't talk to you while I go and do that because it's still really windy out there, but I will take you with me and just, I don't know, play some music or something in the background. There they are. I let them out for the grass and then they end up eating all of the horse feed that's dropped out over there. Oh well, they can clean it up. And oh, hello Putty Cat. What are you doing? Have you been fed this morning? I think you have. I don't know where the other... Oh, there you are. Likes to hide in this box. Hello. Are you sitting in your little box? Is that your little spot? I often see his head poking out of there. All right, let's go and have a look at these. Oh, that's pretty good. They're full. So ideally, this light we like to get down to here to float, because that means that the batteries are full and we're also we're producing excess power and not using any, if that makes sense. Like we're using it, but we're using the excess power. So float is kind of where we like to aim for. I don't know if we'll get there today because we're still at this bit. So it sort of goes up into absorption, then it comes into float. But we do have full lights. So I think we're going to be okay today considering it's only lunchtime. And we've got, still the afternoon to go. Depending on how much sun we get, we'll definitely be fine. And this is how much, we're currently got, I don't really need to clean these. We've currently got a fair bit of, that's actually a really good, I've just pressed a button and I don't know what I'm doing. There we go. That's a really good amount of power that we're generating there. But yes, that's fine. I don't need to worry about that. I can go along and continue on in my day. Well, chickens, I wanted you to go and peck around in the grass. You're going to eat the horse food instead. I kind of don't blame you. The other thing I'm going to do is organise some lunch. These pasties I made last night, kind of inspired by a Cornish pasty, if you've heard of, but it's certainly not a traditional Cornish pasty. I made my own pastry. This one's sort of split a little bit, but I made my own short crust pastry. And yeah, they're actually really nice. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat it on the fire rather than starting up the oven, and I'll show you how I do that. So what I do is I've got 2 tins. They're kind of old tins, but they work well. And I put, am I going to eat 2 or 1? I don't know. Let's eat 2. I'll just put them in like that and then pop the lid on the top, so it's kind of like creating an oven. And then I sit it on top of the fire, oops, like that. And that's how I heat it up. If it gets too hot and starts to burn because it's like directly on the hot top, I will sit it up on this rack. I've got the kettle here. I'll just sit the kettle up the back. But I can sit it on the rack so that it's kind of up off the heat. And if I just keep this fire burning, then I should be having lunch within 15-20 minutes, hopefully. All right. My dough has doubled in size. It looks really, really good. I'll just show you there. Have a look at that. Beautiful dough. So I'm just going to put it out on the bench. What am I doing? Knead it just for a little bit, and then I'm going to divide it into 12 portions. This makes 12 bagels. So just put a little bit of flour down and we'll bring that out. There we go. This is a lovely soft dough. It just feels so nice. Hoping that means that they're going to be good bagels. Like I said, the first time I made this, I think I've only made them once. They turned out pretty good. I was quite happy for my first attempt. All right, so this is, it just says to knead until it's smooth, and it does look pretty smooth, to be honest. And we're going to start just using a little, I don't know what you call this, dough cutter, pastry cutter, something or other, to cut it up. So a little bit more flour. Rolling them on the bench into nice little balls. Like that. So what I do is I just kind of fold it around onto itself. So it's kind of all pinched in the bottom, and then I just roll it under my palm and fingers until it becomes a nice ball like that. Some are bigger than others, but that's okay. So what I'm going to do is now a little bit of flour for my fingers, but I'm going to sort of make a hole in it and then just kind of, I don't know, move my finger around in a circular motion to, all right, here they are. They're looking nice and plump and risen. So I'm going to put them into a pot of boiling water, just a little bit at a time, so that they're not touching. They're just going to float on the top. I think I can probably get 4 in. And I forgot to start my timer, but I need it for about a minute on one side, and then I'm going to flip them over and boil them for another minute on the other side. Then they're going to go on this tray. I'm going to lift them out with this, go onto the tray, and then I'll do the toppings. So they've come out after being boiled, and I've put a egg yolk and water egg wash on them, and these I've just put some salt and sesame seeds. And then this batch, I'm just waiting for these ones to cool a little because they've just come out of the water. This batch I'm doing the egg wash with sesame seeds, and I don't have everything but the bagel seasoning, but I do have everything eggs spice blend, which is actually quite nice. I put it on my eggs. So I'm just going to put that on some of them. And as you can see, some of them have a very inconspicuous hole. It sort of has closed over, but I don't think they're too bad. Now I'm going to bake them in the oven, and I'll tell you how they turn out. Have a look at these. Look how good they look. Some are a little wonky, some are smaller than others, but they look, ow, they're very hot still. They look very good. And now while I have the oven going, I always think about when the oven's going, what else can I cook rather than letting it cool and heating it back up. I'm doing a lasagna tonight, and I was going to make a vegetarian one. So I've got some sliced zucchini and eggplant, and then I'm going to put some pumpkin on some trays with oil. They've already got oil and salt, and I'll put some oil onto the pumpkin, and I'm going to throw them on the trays that I just used and put them into the oven to cook, so that I can then just layer them in my vegetarian lasagna. Right, while my bagels are cooking in the oven, the weather has turned horrid. I don't know if you can see that behind me, but it's now raining as well as the wind. Definitely not getting outside today. So I've got all my seeds out. I need to get myself, I love this seed. I think this is like a craft box or something that has like little containers in it, and I've got mine labeled with my different seeds, and I've outgrown this. I really need to go and get myself another one. And so now I've got this bucket. I've just got a whole heap of seeds sitting in the bucket, but I need to review and have a look at what I have, and then I'm going to get online and just have a look at anything that I need to replenish and anything new that I want to get. I'm in two minds about, do I do potatoes this year or not? We need to get that raised bed finished. And yeah, I don't know how realistic that's going to be. We'll make that decision soon. But I was just looking back at when I sowed my seeds last year. So it looks like in 2023, I sowed the seeds for the capsicum and tomatoes, and as well as some flowers. These are not the flowers for the greenhouse, but the capsicums and tomatoes that are going in the greenhouse. I sowed them in the 4th week of August, and then last year I sowed them in the 3rd week of August, and I still think I need to go earlier and start them inside first so that I have better sized seedlings when they're ready to be planted out. And I think that's my problem is I need to start them in small punnets, and then I need to move them into something larger to get them to grow to a decent height before I put them out. Particularly, I think the greenhouse ones aren't as, it doesn't matter too much, but the ones going out in the garden, I just felt like they were just a little bit behind. The other thing I didn't have a good year with tomatoes. There was a lot going on. I lost a whole heap to frost because I didn't check the weather last year and we had a late frost. And then we had fires and the recovery from the fires, and it just, I don't know, my attention just left the garden for a while there. And so I just didn't, and then it was just a really dry, like the whole last year was dry. It was a hot summer, and I don't know, it was just a struggle. My soil was not very good. I have improved it, so I do hope that that will help. So I really want to try and grow more. I want enough so I can bottle a whole heap of tomatoes, preserve them and so on. So I'm going to go big and hope that they all grow and they work. And if I end up with too many, I'll just give them to people. I'm sure there'll be people who want them. So I'm going to aim for 1st or 2nd week, I think, of August for those. And then maybe the flowers as well. So I grew a whole heap of flowers at that time, plus lettuce and leek. I've already got leek out there, spring onion and so on. Well, now I need to sit down, go through all this and work out what I'm going to grow, and then also what I'm going to do differently. Is there anything I want to grow that I haven't grown before? One thing I'd like to grow, and I tried once or twice and didn't have much success, but I'm going to have another go, are ballotti beans. I'd really like to learn to grow beans that can be dried. I just got to keep an eye on the time. I kind of get distracted and forget. I didn't set a timer for my bagels. I want to grow some beans that I can dry and like have for winter when we're having stews and soups and things like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to talk you through it all, but I'm going to sit here and go through it. I'm going to make some notes about what I need. So for example, if I want to do ballotti beans, like these are old too, so I don't know how well they'll germinate. They'll be probably like a year old by the time I put them in the ground. So I'll definitely need some more. So I'm just going to make a note of what I need more of. And then if there's anything new that I want to plant, I'm going to have a look and order some. My dad also gave me some seeds. He's decided, quite sadly, that he's not going to grow a veggie garden this year. He's had a veggie garden since like I was a baby. So he's just decided, he's had enough. And I said, why don't you just grow a little bit, because there's only him and my mum now and they're retired. But no, he's decided he's not going to bother. I might have to grow extra to give to him. But what are these? Oh, he's cut the top off. I don't even know what it's called. It's a bean of some sort. He's ripped the top off, and anyway, he's given me some of his seeds. I've got some beans, and I think I have some tomatoes as well. A few different tomato varieties that he's bought. So he gave me all of his seeds. I think I've got cucumber as well. And right, I've gone through my seeds. Surprisingly, I don't actually need a lot unless I want to grow some new things, but I have more seed than I realized I had. So I think I've got, and plus stuff that my dad's given me, which means that, yeah, I haven't had to maybe stock up on some things that I needed because he's given me his seeds. Yeah, so there will only be a few things that I'll need to order, which is good. The bagels, I didn't have any cream cheese, but I just put some butter on it. They're delicious. Worked out really, really, really well. They do freeze as well, so if you want to keep them fresh, you're not going to eat them all. You can put them in the freezer, and that may be what I do depending on how many get eaten. I am going to take some to my daughter tomorrow because yeah, I know that she likes them. But yeah, they turned out really well. And I think I might end this video here because really the only other thing I'm going to do is make dinner. I've got the vegetables roasting in the oven that are going to go into a vegetable lasagna. And then I'm just going to make a like a regular meat lasagna as well. And that we'll eat that over a couple of days. So we'll have it tonight and then have it on Tuesday or Wednesday night, I think, because I'm away for work for the day and I'm going to be buggered by the time I get home. So it'll be nice just to be able to heat that up and not have to cook. Yeah, so I think I'll leave it at that. I might pop in a little bit of a video of the lasagnas when they're done, if I remember. But otherwise, thanks so much for watching. I hope this wasn't quite the day I had planned. I was hoping to be outside a little bit more, but you know, that's just what happens. Particularly winter, you just never know what the weather's going to be like, and it's still pretty horrid out there. So I just ended up doing more inside stuff, things that needed to get done anyway. And now that I've done them, I feel like I'm prepared to, you know, get the spring and summer plantings started. So I'll leave you there. Thank you so much. If you enjoy this content, please hit subscribe. It's free to subscribe. I know I always say that, but my dad discovered YouTube a little while back and he doesn't subscribe to anything because he thinks it costs money. And I said to him, Dad, it's free to subscribe. So yeah, it's free to subscribe and you'll get updates on my any of my coming videos. So I'll leave you there. See you later. Stay warm if you're somewhere where it's cold, and I'll see you in the next video.